Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Health University, where each week we try to provide you with some information and education to improve your own health, including your fertile health. We're in the series of your fertility and improving your fertile health. And so today I'd like to talk about how to identify and remove environmental and home toxins. We want to keep our bodies as clean since we are the home for an implanting embryo and growing fetus. And so we want to make sure that our home and our self-care is doing the best we can to create a nice nest for our growing babies, even in preparation for that. So some of the things that we are covering today include how to make sure that the external environment, the things we take in, the items we use for our self-care, self-cleaning, home cleaning are as clean as possible. And so I'm just going to go through it a little bit list by list of the things that we do every day. Food, of course, being one of them. It should be no surprise that the recommendation is to choose a organic, a free range, a wild caught source of meat, fresh vegetables, organic wherever possible. And if you want to have a little bit of a resource, I send people to the environmental working group for the clean 15 and dirty dozen. I won't go through those here. It's a pretty, it's a wonderful little checklist to have when you go to the grocery, the clean 15 and dirty dozen, to make sure that at least those items you're choosing organic, because they will have the highest content of pesticides. So for meat, for instance, we want to make sure that, as I say, it is either grass-fed, grass-finished, organic, locally grown if possible. So with vegetables, I want to make sure that we have this idea that it really needs to be farmers market, organic, locally grown, and of course that is ideal, but it's not available for everyone. So my recommendation is, if you don't have that easily accessible, please choose organic flash frozen, because you're going to get your vegetables as close to fresh when you get them fresh frozen. If you choose to have something that is canned, sometimes we do just need to have something in the pantry that is canned, please be sure that you're looking for a BPA-free lining in the cans, because all of the BPA in the inside of the can leach out and be hormone disruptors. One question I get a lot is, what about coffee? Can I drink coffee? And my answer is, yes, you can, but please be aware that coffee is one of the highest contaminants for mold. And there's a whole lot of debate out there. If you Google, you'll see some saying yes, you'll see some saying no. It is grown in an environment that is conducive to mold. So in my opinion, it makes sense that, yes, of course, it would be more likely to be containing mold. So choose a high quality coffee that is certified to be mold free or mold reduced. I personally like the new Danger coffee that Dave Asprey has put out. It's very new, and the reason I like it is that it tastes great. It is mold free, and he's added back important acids, humic acid and fulvic acid, that actually remineralize the coffee so that you're getting the best bang for your buck, literally. In the notes below, I'll have a link for you to order your coffee from Danger Coffee with a discount code. Let's see, with water. Okay, now we're going to switch over to water. Obviously, our water has had chlorine and fluoride and all kinds of things added to our tap water, and there's just no getting around that. So my recommendation is to purify your water, and there are two ways that you can do it. One is the most rigorous. It's how I choose to drink my water, and that is to distill it and then remineralize it. So I use a distiller that will take 100% of the contaminants out, but it also takes out the minerals. And we need the minerals. So then I will realkalinize that water with a pitcher that has an alkaline filter in it. And so what you're trying to add back in are the calcium, magnesium, potassium, and phosphorus. The pitcher will do it. I like the one that's called Invigorate Water. There's no association that I have with it. It's just an easy way to just refill that water from the distilled container to the alkalinized pitcher, and then I don't have to wonder or worry, am I getting enough of my minerals back in? If that seems arduous, just go ahead and maybe add to your glass of water, the distilled water, a pinch of sea salt. I like Celtic sea salt, a squeeze of lemon, and then make sure if that's all you're doing, eat your vegetables, because you're going to get your minerals from your vegetables. If you want to just use a filter to remove contaminants, you will get rid of the bacteria and some of the chlorine, but you don't have that clean water. It's going to be good enough for most purposes, but you get to choose just how rigorous you want to be with your clean water. Obviously, I want to make sure that you're avoiding the bottled water that is on the shelf. When you just squeeze those containers, they're very flimsy. And when you think about it, they're made of plastic, and they're being filled with the plastic just barely molded. And so that all of the off-gassing of the contaminants in the plastic itself are going right into the water. So, not really the best way to get yourself hydrated is with those plastic bottles. I tend to ask that people use ceramic or glass. I know that many love their stainless steel. I'm a little hesitant on the stainless steel. I know it's better than plastic, but there's nothing, in my opinion, that's better than glass. So it's easy enough to choose glass, just refill those bottles, and then you're not only taking better care of yourself, you're taking better care of the environment, because you're not filling up landfill with more and more and more plastic bottles. With regard to plastics, I want to just kind of go into that a little bit. It is the phthalates, it is the estrogen mimicking off-gassing that is a hormone disruptor. So my recommendation is to just remove your home of plastics wherever possible. If you've got some containers that you just feel that you need to keep and store, please store only your dry goods into those containers, because wet goods will have the possibility of breaking down that plastic and once again leaching into the food item that is being contained. Let's see, what else have I? So many things. Our personal care products. So first, our soaps, our toothpaste, our deodorant. Once again, I refer you back to the environmental working group. I'll make some of the suggestions of what I like to use. For instance, I like to use the Dr. Bronner's Castile soap for my bathing. Personally, I like the scent of the almond. Some people have almond or nut sensitivity, so that wouldn't be for you. So take a look at environmental working group. Be sure to check off the box within environmental working group that says, is this EWG certified? Because they're running a list, and some of those items are certified and some are not. So just to get a more complete list, just check that box and you'll be good to go. Toothpaste. So think about it. I mean, our mouth is probably the closest barrier to our blood, our circulatory system. There's not much lining between the mucosa of our gums and our mouth directly to our bloodstream. So the idea of putting chemicals into our mouth so that we have fresh smelling breath is a little bit off kilter to me. So here again, go to the environmental working group. Once again, I have my own preference. There is a company called Biocidin that has a toothpaste that is very healthy. It is able to break down biofilm barriers, which oftentimes a bacteria or a microbe wants to coat itself with a little coating, and this will help break down that biofilm. That's what it's called. So that when you're cleaning your teeth, you're actually truly cleaning away, brushing away, breaking down that biofilm and breaking away and brushing away those microbes. They've got a 3-part system. It is a toothpaste. It is a spray, a little liquid that you can swish your mouth with that also acts as a natural what do you call it? Mouthwash, pardon me, a mouthwash. And then deodorants, of course. So no to antiperspirants that contain aluminum. You know, we're supposed to sweat. We just don't want to stink. So use an anti-deodorant or a deodorant that has some natural fragrance, perhaps essential oil, that has you feel that you are not being offensive to your neighbor in the conference room, if we ever go back to live conference rooms. But try to stay away from the aluminum-based deodorants. Once again, back to the EWG, so that you have a wider variety to choose from as to what scents and products work best for you. Beauty products. Whew. This can be a doozy, because we spend so much time with our healthful food and water, and then we put all kinds of toxins directly into our hair and on our face, and all of this is absorbable. So avoid products that contain phthalates, parabens, propylene glycol, and synthetic fragrances. And sometimes they don't say synthetic, they just say fragrances. Once again, back to the environmental working group, you'll see several from which to choose. And then there are specific companies. If you don't want to go through EWG, you can just search, organic, clean skincare products. And many of these companies will also have home care products as well. But I like to just say, for your home care, your home cleaning, DIY. It's make it yourself. It is so inexpensive to use a combination, a solution that is simply vinegar, white vinegar, essential oils, some phosphorus-free dish soap, and some distilled water. Make up your own solution, put it in a spray bottle. That can be what you use to wipe down your counters, clean up your bathtub, all of these things. And then you've got a nice clean home that isn't leaving behind residue of synthetic and toxic chemical film on your home surfaces. Home furniture. This is a tricky one, because much of the home furniture, the upholstered furniture that is being manufactured, has by law protectants for fire repellent protectants, which off gas as toxic chemicals. So if possible, if you're making doing a remodel or home improvement, and you are thinking about new furnishings, try to look for natural latex, cotton, down, and wool. If you're looking for leather, there are eco leather products. Conventional leather can be riddled with toxic dyes and treatments. And then if you are looking at upholstered furniture, ask to see if there are fabrics that have no formaldehyde in them. And just to be on the safest side, when you receive those furnishings, to the extent possible, sit them outside of your home for maybe a week, and let them off gas in nature, in the air. Put them in your garage, open the door, or if it's possible to have them even more in the open air, then they will off gas quicker. So let's see. And then home maintenance. So home maintenance it's about making sure that the filtration systems that we put in our home are kept up. Where I live in an area where the last several seasons where it was very smoky. So putting back out or turning back on the filtration system after it's been used for a few months where it was smoky, I'm not getting the filtration that I need. So make sure you're following the directions on the filters that you use. I can make recommendations if you want. You feel free to inquire, and I'll respond with the recommendations that I have and that I use. Molecule, Cowie. There are a few that I can recommend, but I don't want to take up time with that now. And then finally, just simple lifestyle practices, things like washing your hands, taking off your shoes at the front door, have your indoor shoes and slippers, maybe have a set for some guests so that they can slip off their shoes and not feel uncomfortable about going barefoot or only in socks, or have some skid-free socks to offer them if you don't want a whole bunch of slippers. But what we track into our home can be just as much of a contaminant as what we might otherwise be accumulating in our home. And finally, every time possible, open the windows, let the fresh air in, help it clean out the stale air that has been in our home and accumulating. We really want to be breathing fresh air as much as possible. So those are my tips for today. I want to make sure that I can keep this short and sweet so that you can just go implement them. And I wish you a wonderful day.